There is a brutal truth hidden inside every first impression. Before you speak, before you explain your values, before anyone has evidence of your intelligence, discipline, or loyalty, a judgment has already been made. It happens fast, too fast for fairness. The eyes scan, the mind sorts, the body decides. Important, harmless, capable, replaceable, respected, ignored, trusted, dismissed. Most people pretend this does not happen because they want to believe the world is noble. They want to believe substance naturally rises to the top. They want to believe that if you are talented enough, kind enough, or smart enough, reality will eventually reward you. But reality does not begin with essence. It begins with signals. And if your signals are weak, confused, or neglected, the world punishes you before it ever discovers what you actually are. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology gave it a name. People judge by appearances first because appearances are efficient. They are cognitive shortcuts. The crowd does not investigate. The crowd assumes. The crowd reacts. That is why a man with half your intelligence can walk into a room and receive more respect than you. That is why a woman with less discipline can be treated as more valuable than you. That is why people with mediocre substance often move faster than those with real depth. They mastered presentation while others worshipped hidden potential. And hidden potential is useless if no one opens the door. You have felt this, even if you never said it out loud. You have walked into rooms and felt yourself instantly lowered in the social order. You have seen eyes drift past you. You have watched people become warmer, more attentive, more cooperative, with someone who merely looked more composed, more polished, more certain. You have watched lesser people move through life with the confidence of royalty, simply because they understood one law. The world responds to what it sees before it rewards what you are. Most people think looking poor means wearing torn clothes or obvious signs of low income. That is too shallow. Looking poor is deeper than price. It is not only fabric. It is not only labels. It is not even mainly about money. Looking poor means looking diminished. It means looking disordered, uncertain, apologetic, drained, neglected, breakable. It means carrying yourself like someone life has already pressed into the floor. It means broadcasting scarcity through posture, grooming, tone, movement, and presence. And scarcity changes how people treat you. When you look diminished, people assume your standards are low. If your standards are low, they assume your boundaries are weak. If your boundaries are weak, they assume the cost of disrespecting you will be small. This is where the spiral begins. The world is not merely unfair. It looks for the path of least resistance. It searches for the easiest read. It looks for the person least likely to retaliate, least likely to negotiate, least likely to walk away. When you project neglect, people smell concession. They may not say it consciously. They may not even know they are doing it, but they feel it. Their offers get worse. Their respect drops. Their patience shortens. Their tone changes. They begin to deal with you as though you should be grateful for whatever scraps are given. This is why two people can ask for the same opportunity and get radically different outcomes. One enters looking assembled, calm, crisp, deliberate. The other enters looking tired, cluttered, hesitant, unfinished. The first is treated like an investment. The second is treated like a liability. This is not moral. It is mechanical. Human beings use visual cues as a substitute for certainty. They assume external order hints at internal order. They assume visible discipline suggests invisible discipline. They assume the person who governs the details of their presentation may also govern the details of their work. And the reverse is also true. A cracked phone screen, unclean shoes, bad posture, restless eyes, wrinkled clothes, apologetic laughter, rushed speech. These things should be small. In theory, they are small, but in the mind of the observer, they stack into a story. The story becomes careless, unstable, low status, needy, disorganized. That story follows you before your resume does, before your work does, before your actual character does. This is the horn effect. One negative cue bleeds into everything else. A sloppy presentation makes people less likely to trust your judgment, your leadership, your reliability, even your intelligence. Not because they proved it, because they inferred it. And most of social life runs on inference. People do not have time to deeply know everyone they meet, so they read the shell and assume the core. If the shell says neglect, they assume weakness. If the shell says precision, they assume competence. If the shell says uncertainty, they assume low value. If the shell says restraint, they assume power. This is why appearance is not a shallow issue. It is not vanity. It is strategy. It is pre-verbal communication. It is silent leverage. A lot of people sabotage themselves here because they cling to sentimental ideas. They say things like, "I'm just being real," or "I don't care what people think," or "people should judge me for my character." No, people may retain you because of your character, but they grant access because of perception. Character gets you kept. Image gets you considered. If no one considers you, your character never gets tested. This is the hard truth the idealist hates. The product may matter most in the long run, but packaging controls who picks it up. Your exterior is not the opposite of your inner value. It is the translator of your inner value. If you truly believe you possess discipline, intelligence, standards, and ambition, why are you allowing your exterior to contradict your thesis? Why are you letting your shoes argue against your future? Why are you letting your posture testify against your confidence? Why are you letting your grooming speak the language of surrender? That is not humility. That is self-sabotage. Machiavelli understood that rulers survive not by exposing themselves exactly as they are, but by projecting what the world must see in order to behave correctly around them. The prince does not wander into the public sphere, hoping people will intuit his worth. He shapes the impression before the crowd can shape it for him. That is what you need to understand. If you do not frame yourself, the world will frame you. And the world is lazy. It will frame you with the quickest available story. There is another dark truth here. Resources often move toward those who already look resourced. It sounds absurd until you watch it happen. A desperate man asks for help and gets suspicion. A composed man asks for help and gets partnership. Why? Because desperation triggers fear. Neediness makes people defensive. It makes them worry about cost, about mess, about dependency, about risk. But composure suggests leverage. It suggests that helping you may connect them to future value rather than present burden. That is why someone who looks abundant receives better deals even when privately struggling. This is not merely fashion. It is nervous system management. It is signaling. It is how you control the emotional experience of the person across from you. If they feel you are needy, they tighten. If they feel you are grounded, they soften. If they feel you are disorganized, they protect themselves. If they feel you are composed, they open. That is why the same request sounds different depending on the body that delivers it. A weak frame turns a proposal into a plea. A strong frame turns a plea into an opportunity. So what creates the look of poverty, even when money is not the issue? First, disorder. Disorder is visual poverty. Dirty shoes, unpressed clothing, neglected details, cluttered grooming, chipped accessories, broken everyday items. Disorder tells the world you are living reactively. It says life is happening to you faster than you can manage it. Second, collapse. Collapsed posture, lowered gaze, rushed movement, constricted breathing, constant fidgeting. This tells the world you are trying not to be noticed or trying not to be attacked. It is the body language of low claim. Third, over-explaining. People think poverty is seen. Often it is heard. The need to justify yourself, to speak too much, to fill silence, to confess unnecessary details, to soften every statement with nervous humor. This is scarcity talking. It is the sound of someone trying to earn permission to exist. Power does not rush to explain. Power does not beg the room to understand it. Power can tolerate silence because it is not terrified of being misread for a few seconds. Fourth, maintenance failure. Living with broken things, broken screens, broken cases, broken routines, broken presentation. The issue is not perfection. The issue is what repeated neglect does to the psyche. Every unfixed detail teaches your mind that you can live with compromise, decay, and unfinishedness. Then your internal standards begin to sink to match the environment. You start accepting less in appearance, then less in work, then less in relationships, then less in your future. Decay spreads. This is why image discipline matters, not because strangers deserve your best, but because you do. When you keep your environment, your clothes, and your body maintained, you send a message inward as much as outward. You train yourself to reject entropy. You stop normalizing collapse. And then there is the deepest part, the gaze. A person can wear expensive clothes and still look poor. How? Through energy. The poverty gaze is apologetic. It asks permission. It scans for approval. It smiles too quickly. It shrinks under pressure. It communicates, please don't judge me too harshly. A powerful gaze does not need to dominate. It simply does not retreat. It looks without pleading. It listens without collapsing. It remains present without scrambling to reduce tension. That is why some people can wear simple clothing and still project authority. Their nervous system is not begging. Their eyes do not chase acceptance. Their body does not leak panic. You can put a servant in luxury and still feel the servant. You can put a sovereign in plain clothes and still feel the sovereign. So the work is not only external, it is behavioral. You must remove the habits of visual submission. Stop laughing immediately after your own serious statements. Stop cutting yourself off mid-sentence when challenged. Stop shrinking your body in chairs, in doorways, in conversations. Stop touching your face, your neck, your clothes every 5 seconds. Stop speaking as if every opinion you hold needs to be softened for survival. These are not random habits. They are signals. And people read signals faster than they read words. Another overlooked element is noise. Scarcity is noisy. The person who constantly complains, constantly posts, constantly reveals, constantly explains, constantly announces, constantly vents, often looks spiritually poor even if financially comfortable. Why? Because oversharing communicates hunger. It says, please witness me. Please reassure me. Please confirm I matter. That makes people feel your need. Need repels power. Abundance, by contrast, is selective. It does not mean coldness. It means precision. A person who speaks less, reveals less, posts less, complains less, often appears to have a richer inner world. Their attention looks expensive. Their silence looks intentional. Their words gain weight because they are not flooding the market with them. Scarcity of expression creates value of expression. This extends to digital life more than most people realize. A chaotic online presence can make a person look unstable, impulsive, thirsty for validation, and low status. A sparse, intentional, clean presence can make that same person look focused, private, and difficult to classify. Mystery is often interpreted as value. Not always, but often. Now, some people hear all this and object. What if I can't afford expensive things? That is not the real issue. Many people look rich while wearing average clothing because everything is clean, fitted, coordinated, and maintained. Many people look poor while wearing expensive brands because the energy underneath is still chaotic and the details are still neglected. Presentation is more about control than cost. Clean beats flashy, fit beats brand, maintenance beats trend, stillness beats performance. A simple outfit worn with composure is more powerful than an expensive outfit worn with insecurity. The goal is not to cosplay wealth. The goal is to remove the visual markers of defeat. That means cleanliness. That means grooming. That means posture. That means shoes that are cared for. That means a phone screen that is not broadcasting ongoing neglect. That means clothing that looks intentional. That means moving like you have somewhere to be besides the approval of the room. And yes, it also means your circle. People read your associations as evidence. If you are consistently surrounded by people who look chaotic, victimized, unserious, messy, or bitter, some of that frame transfers to you. The quality of your company becomes part of your image, whether you like it or not. Machiavelli wrote that a prince is judged by the quality of the people around him. The same is true now. Your companions signal your standards. Your network signals your range. Your visible associations tell the world what level you tolerate. You do not have to hate your past, but you do have to understand optics. If you want to rise, you cannot build a serious image while permanently attached to unserious energy. All of this may sound harsh. Good. It is harsh. Reality is harsh. But here is the encouraging part. Perception can be trained much faster than most people think. You do not need to become rich before you stop looking poor. You need to become disciplined before you stop signaling collapse. Iron the shirt. Polish the shoes. Replace the broken case. Stand upright. Cut the rambling. Slow the gestures. Hold the gaze 1 second longer. Choose fewer words. Fix what is fixable. Remove what is obviously dragging you down. This is not fake. It is deliberate. You are not lying about your value. You are refusing to slander your value through neglect. And something strange begins to happen when you do this. The exterior starts changing the interior. You feel more precise because you look more precise. You negotiate more firmly because you feel less apologetic. You reject bad treatment faster because your self-image rises. You begin to expect cleaner outcomes because your presentation no longer rehearses defeat. The mask becomes the face. This is the part most people miss. Image is not only how you manipulate others. Image is how you recondition yourself. By refusing the look of defeat, you slowly refuse the psychology of defeat. Then the loop reverses. Better presentation creates better treatment. Better treatment creates better opportunities. Better opportunities create better resources. Better resources reinforce the stronger identity. What once looked like vanity turns out to be trajectory. So no, do not wait until your bank account changes to carry yourself like a serious person. That is backwards. The world often rewards the person who signals seriousness before the reward arrives. Wear the crown in behavior before life hands you the gold. Carry the standard before the title comes. Move like someone whose time matters before anyone confirms it. Because every day, the judgment is already happening. Every room, every table, every meeting, every glance. The question is not whether people will judge. They will. The question is whether you will let neglect write your first sentence for you, or whether you will master the frame. Because when you stop looking like an easy target, the world does not become kind. It becomes cautious. And caution is often the first form of respect.